Hello, and welcome back to their Dokkan battle video. So about 12 hours ago, we did get the EZA information for a bunch of EZA TURs. Now, I did read them when they initially came out, and I formed an opinion, and then I had enough time to, sleep on it, wake up, read it again, and give my finalized thoughts on all of them. So I'm finally ready to share this information with you guys. I know realistically it helps to just get this out immediately, just so you guys know what they do, but I like to at least form an opinion on them first based on reading them multiple times and then seeing how they are from there. So let's go ahead and start here with the EZA Topo Pride Troopers. Now this is a really big EZA for Topo because they share, I believe, 5 or 6 links with Topo. So this is a unit that needed to be really good for Topo to just be better in general. I'm talking about Dokkan Fest Topo, obviously. So their super attack effect, they get 30% attack and defense for 1 turn, and then they greatly lower attack and defense, which is good for a lot of different fights. Their passive skill, attack and defense 110% at the start of turn, plus an additional attack and defense 110%, and keep +1 up to 3 when there are 3 or more Universe 11 category allies on the team. I have no idea how this works. This is a weird little mechanic. I don't know if they get keep per every Universe 11 category unit. It's kind of weird. The thing about this is, though, they didn't buff either of those start of turn stats at all, which is really weird. All they did to give this unit more stats is down here. Their guard, which they had before, and then they get an additional attack and defense 110% when performing a super attack when there's another Universe 11 category ally attacking in the same turn. Again, that's not really a problem because you have Dokkan Fest Topo. I don't personally have Dokkan Fest Topo. I haven't really summoned on his banner all that much, so I personally cannot use this card pretty much at all because you need those Universe 11 allies, and the only other good one in the entire game is Dokkan Festival Topo. Now, here's where I don't like this unit. Performs a guaranteed crit if all allies attacking in the same turn are Universe 11 or Special Pose category allies. This unit, we've already seen the calculations for them, caps out roughly around like a million-ish defense with 5% damage reduction from Topo. And their links, and that's just not enough. Sure, they are able to attack a debuff, which against Gogeta and Cellmax does matter, but this unit is going to be taking damage, and I don't like that. I think they're going to be fine, they're going to be runnable, but I just don't I don't like the fact that they gave them crit. They could have given them literally any other defensive mechanic, and this would have been really good. Or they could have given them higher starter turn stats, and that would have been good as well. And then they also buffed the support here, which is now Universe 11 or Special Pose category allies, key +3 to attack and defense 50%, and 11% chance to crit. So again, they're like a solid unit. They're nothing crazy. I wanted them to be really crazy though, and they're just kind of okay. In comparison, the direct reference for these guys would be like INT 16 or the AGL Cell Juniors, which are both way better than this unit. They needed to be on their level or even better than 16 and the Cell Juniors, and they're just not. And I think that's a shame for mainly Topo. Then we have the GOTENKS. Now, GOTENKS, I like a lot, actually. Let's go ahead and pull up all of his information here. GOTENKS is legitimately probably the... okay, between him and Kefla, I have a global account and I've been playing with Kefla on there, and I don't know who was better, GOTENKS or Kefla. I'm probably going to lean towards Kefla, but I like the consistency of GOTENKS here. So his super attack effect raises attack for 1 turn and greatly raises defense for 3 turns, causes immense damage. His passive skill gets key +2 and attacking defense 200%. He gets an additional attack +50% when performing a super attack. He gets a high chance to perform an additional super attack, a high chance to evade enemies' attacks, and then he gets an additional chance to evade enemies' attacks +10% with each attack evaded within the turn. Now that is a separate proc from his initial chance to dodge. So the more you dodge, it's going to basically have 2 different chances to dodge in there, which is pretty nice. And then they get an additional defense +50% when performing a super attack for 1 turn from first appearance. Again, that really only matters on the first turn because INT GOTENKS does transform on turn 3 immediately. So you're not going to have to worry about not having that up, and then they transform. And then when they transform into Super Saiyan GOTENKS, which will happen on their 2nd turn, they are now raising attack for 1 turn and greatly raising defense for 4 turns. This is actually supposed to be a 70% chance to stun. Minato did clarify that, which is really nice. So, and the 4-turn defensive stacks, the more super attacks you get with them, the way crazier his defensive levels are going to really be. So I do really like his super attack effect there. Plus, he is also going to have massive Dokkan Fest level EZA stats, which is really good. Passive skill is key +2 to attack and defense 250%, which is really good. Plus an additional attack +50% and high chance of attack +50%. And a medium chance to perform a critical hit when performing a super attack. All pretty good. I would have liked a little bit of defense in there, but it's fine. He has a 70% chance to perform an additional super attack. Again, that would have been nice if it was an additional normal, with that like a guaranteed additional normal with a 70% chance to being a super attack. That would have been a little bit better, but it's fine. It's still 70% chance to super, which is pretty good. 50% chance to dodge, which is always nice, plus an additional chance to dodge enemy attacks plus 20% with each attack evaded within the turn. That's really good. Again, while they are separate chances, if you get like 3 of these, you essentially have 2 50% chances to dodge, which is going to be roughly around like an 80-ish% chance to dodge in Super Saiyan form, which is really high, right? And then plus any hidden potentials and dodge you might have. Since he is INT, he has a guaranteed 5 just baseline already, so that's pretty good. And then from the 4th turn onwards, you get a high chance to recover 30% HP at the start of turn. That matters a lot because you need to be above a certain HP threshold to be able to transform into Super Saiyan 3. So him having the ability to potentially heal you back over that so you can transform is actually really, really nice. And then we have Super Saiyan 3 GOTENKS, which gets 50% attacking defense for 4 turns, which is amazing. This is genuinely really, really good super attack effect, and then has a 70% chance to stun, which again is pretty good. Key plus 3 attacking defense 300%, which is really, really nice. An additional 100% attack, which again, good. High chance to perform a crit when performing a super attack. So you don't need to put crit on this guy pretty much at all. Performs an additional super attack guaranteed, which is amazing. 70% chance to dodge for free, which is great. An additional chance to dodge plus 20% with each attack evaded within the same turn. Again, those are separate procs, but again, once you hit like 2 or 3 of those, there's like 0 shot he's getting hit by anything. And then you get a guaranteed crit for 1 turn, which makes this guy just ridiculously powerful. I really do like GOTENKS' design here. Again, I think I give him a little bit of defense like on super attack from his passive would have been nice to just multiplicatively buff his defense, but he is getting a bunch of defense from his super attack effects. So if you get like 3 super attacks multiple times on your way to Super Saiyan 3, like you're gonna be cooking really high. Plus he's gonna have 70% chance to dodge with stacking dodge on top of that. So I do think he is quite good there. So that's him. Again, that's the main EZA. Would I have liked it to be Jiren? Yeah, but is GOTENKS still really, really good? Yeah. Now we're getting to some of the sub EZAs, and a lot of them are mid. INT Topo and Pride Troopers is like okay, and a lot of these other guys are kind of just whatever. So this is the AGL Super Saiyan GOTENKS. He greatly raises defense for 1 turn, causes supreme damage to all enemies with a high chance of stunning them, which is solid because it is an AoE stun, which is good, right, for Super Battle Road and stuff. 150% attack and defense at the start of turn, an additional attack and defense 150%, and performs a crit when facing 1 enemy. I would have not liked the crit there. I don't see the point of this unit having crit at all. Defense plus 150% and launches an additional super attack when facing 2 or more enemies. Again, I don't know why they're doing this with AoE characters where they're weaker offensively against multiple enemies. I feel like that doesn't make any sense. But again, it is what it is, right? They are a time limit support of 3 key 50%, which is good. And then attack and chance to evade enemies' attacks plus 10% up to 50% with each attack performed. I do not like that. It is nice that they do get eventually 50% chance to dodge, but needing to do 5 attacks in battle before you can even have that is very awkward, especially when your only built-in additional is against 2 or more enemies. It's like this unit is going to get pretty much no play unless you're in Super Battle Road, which again is not that challenging anymore. We are getting a new time limit stage of Super Battle Road, so you're probably going to make use of them there, but it could have been better. Then the physical Great Saiyaman 2 greatly raises defense for 1 turn and causes supreme damage and raises attack for 3 turns, which is good. Attack and defense 180% at the start of turn. For each ally in the Defenders of Justice or Exploding Rage category, other than this character, depending on which category has more members, you get key plus 1 up to 3 and attack and defense plus 60% up to 180%. So, decent little buff there. I don't hate category restrictions on these like sub-unit EZAs as long as like the actual buff is good, and this one is like fine. Performs a critical hit against a Majin Buu Saga enemy that's non-existent right now, so who cares? Just again, why are we giving these like mini units crit? It doesn't need to be there. An additional attack plus 180% reduces damage received by 30%, and if HP is 30% or below, recovers 50% HP once only when there is an extreme class enemy. Again, a lot of the content is against extreme class except for the blue zone, so it's not that big of a restriction, but did he really need more attack and then crit? Like we could have got more defense in there is what I'm like mainly worrying about. we've seen the calcs for this guy. He caps at around 700k defense with 30% damage reduction. That is just not nearly enough. That is basically the equivalent of like 1 million raw defense. Again, which is just not good enough in this day and age, right? You're still getting one shot by like Gogeta's normals after he supers. Those are doing 1.5 million. Like this guy's not even those like at all, especially because he has type disadvantage, right? And then he does get an additional super attack, which has a high chance to become a additional normal that has a high chance to become a super attack, which is fine, right? So I think he's okay at best. Nothing to like really write home about. I would have liked him to be significantly better than what he is, but hopefully we get a new version of this character in the future, because like I could easily see him getting a Dokkan Fest. Definitely not a dual Dokkan Fest. Like if you saw, I believe somebody made a post that's like, oh, what would you rate these dual Dokkan Fests if they happened? And I rated this guy versus Dabura really lowly, but that's just because I don't want a dual Dokkan Fest of it. I'd be perfectly fine with an individual Dokkan Fest of just Great Saiyaman, right? I'd be perfectly fine with that. I just don't really care for Dabura that much. And then finally, we have physical Ribrian giant form here. Now, Ribrian causes supreme damage to enemies and raises attack and defense for 6 turns. Now, pre-EZA, this was 50%, so I'm going to assume it's the same. I doubt they changed it. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but it looks like it's still just going to be 50% attack and defense for 6 turns, which is really, really good for a super attack effect. No start of turn stats. Attack and defense plus 80% when performing a super attack, which is okay. Key plus 1 per key sphere obtained, which is kind of pointless on a banner character, because again, this is a TUR, they're not going to need key that bad. Changes a random type of key sphere physical excluded to rainbow key spheres when there are another 2 or more Peppy Gal category allies on the team. That can be a little bit challenging. The other 2 best Peppy Gals in the game right now are probably LR Ribrian and then LR Bulma. And while you can make use of that, I mean, I guess there's also 21. You can make use of that on 21's team, on GOTENKS' lead, because it's double 170 to special pose and youth. You can make that usable there, but without it, it's like kind of whatever. Attack and defense was 22% per key sphere obtained, which is good. Plus an additional attack and defense and chance of evading enemies' attacks, including super attacks, plus 22%, up to 88% per rainbow key sphere obtained. That is 4 rainbow key spheres, which, again, if you do not have their rainbow orb changing, could be kind of challenging unless Bulma's on rotation as well. Though I can easily see you having like a circumstance where this unit's in slot 1, you have the LR Ribrian in slot 2, and then Bulma in slot 3, and then you give this unit up to 4 rainbow key spheres and then as many of the tech orbs that the LR Ribrian changes, and then you have all your links active from the tech Ribrian, and then you have Bulma also giving support if she's able to get all her orbs. And I can easily see this unit being kind of solid, like defensively, plus, you get the attack and defensive stacks from the super attack. They do get a guaranteed additional super attack when collecting 3 or more rainbow key spheres. So you could easily get to the point where like this unit can be a really solid slot 1 option. They are just going to really, really, really need orb support, which could be potentially hard to get depending on how your team is kind of set up here. If we did have like a better, like just regular Ribrian, I think that this unit could be significantly better. But our best standalone Ribrian is probably the INT one, and she's kind of old by now. I don't really think I want a Dokkan Fest Ribrian, but if they're really good, then it's whatever. But yeah, I think this unit has potential to be really, really good. It's just going to be really orb reliant, which again is not something that is like consistently able to happen unless you're really juicing them with the orbs. So that's all of the EZAs here. We did also see that we're getting a support memory. I can probably find it on Minato's Twitter right here. It's from when Goku gives Frieza some energy, right? So we're getting this as well as a Super Battle Road stage for time limit. So again, that's everything that we got shown last night. Again, do let me know how you guys feel about all these characters in the comments down below. My personal favorite is definitely INT GOTENKS. I think he is absolutely incredible. But again, that's just my thoughts. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.